Since Dead Island 2 is still a very new game, pretty much everyone is, well, a beginner. And for some of you, you probably might not have even started playing the game yet. You might not even own the game yet, and for you, this video will be absolutely perfect. And for others, this video is still going to be very helpful. There's going to be lots of tips in here that you should definitely take on board, since in this video, we'll be going over how to have the perfect start in Dead Island 2, what you need to do and what you need to choose right at the beginning of the game, going over the character that you should pick at the beginning of the game for certain scenarios, depending on the way you want to play the game, and we'll also look at tips that you should know before you get into the game, and general things that you should be aware of right at the beginning of Dead Island 2. Basically, yeah, how to have the perfect start in Dead Island 2. So, let's waste no more time and let's get into this video. So, after a cutscene or two, you will get to the point in Dead Island 2 where you pick the character that you want to play as. There are 6 playable protagonists within Dead Island 2, and the character you pick actually will have a decent effect on the way the game plays out. There is definitely a worse character you can pick and a best character you can pick, but it does depend on the scenario for you and how you plan on approaching Dead Island 2. So I'll walk through all of these 6 characters you can pick between, and then we'll look at the best character for different scenarios. So first of all, there is Amy. Now Amy is somewhat of a glass cannon with low toughness and health, but a good amount of agility and damage output. Her playstyle is all about dashing in to deal damage, dashing out to avoid getting hit, then throwing weapons at a distance. So these are her stats. In terms of toughness, she has 1, then 3 stamina, then 3 health recovery, then the critical damage is 4, the agility is 5, the peak health is 2, then the resilience is 3, and then of course there are the 2 unique perks for every single character. Amy's are as follows. There is Relief Pitcher. You get a little bit of stamina back when you throw a weapon at an enemy, which helps you stay agile and out of the way. Then there is Divide and Conquer. When you're attacking a zombie by itself, you get a small damage boost, letting you take out lone zombies quickly before alerting the horde. So then of course there is Jacob, one of the more known characters that people tend to play as within Dead Island 2. And the main reason for this is because Jacob is a jack of all trades, being the most well-rounded of the characters on offer. He gets knocked down easily, but his huge health stats make this much less terrifying, and his stats are as follows. There is a toughness of 3, 4 stamina, 2 health recovery, 3 critical damage, 3 agility, 5 peak health, and 1 resilience. So the resilience really isn't nothing to write home about, but the peak health is very impressive, something pretty useful there. So the unique perks for Jacob are as follows. There is Feral. You'll get a stackable damage boost when attacking zombies in quick succession, and given most of the combat is spamming the attack button, this is going to be very powerful. Then there is Critical Gains. While your stamina is low, critical hits give a big boost to critical damage and top up your stamina a little bit too. So the third choice is a Bruno. So Bruno is a master of stealth who's not built for being stuck in the thick of it. So if you were to go ahead and pick Bruno, you'll need to keep on your toes if you want to play as him, but his damage output really is unmatched. So his stats are as follows. Toughness of 2, a stamina of 3, a health recovery also of 3, a critical damage of 5, the highest so far, an agility of 4, which is also very good, a peak health of 1, which is, well, awful, and then a resilience of 3, which isn't too bad. So yeah, obviously where he really lacks is with his peak health, and basically yeah, you really can't get into big fights. You need to stay hidden and you need to stay out of sight at all times, but the damage is really where Bruno is useful. So if you plan on taking things slowly, going, attacking zombies one by one, then Bruno might not be a bad option. And his unique perks are as follows. Backstab. You'll get a big damage boost when attacking a zombie from behind, and that's in addition to the critical damage that is dealt out from doing so. Then there is Rapid Reprisal. Your agility and heavy attacks get boosted when you block or dodge, and given Bruno's whole deal is attacking from behind, a quick dodge from behind an enemy will deal massive damage. Of course, it is a block or dodge, since you can only pick one of those mechanics with the abilities, but either way, it doesn't matter which one you pick, you still get this ability, this unique perk with Bruno. So let's move on to Carla. So Carla can take an absolute beating before getting knocked down, making her a force to be reckoned with in boss fights. She excels at fighting large groups of zombies at once. So her stats are as follows. A toughness of 4, which is very high, a stamina of 3, a health recovery also of 3, a critical damage of 1, which really isn't great, an agility of 2, a peak health of 3, and a resilience of 5. So yeah, doesn't deal much damage, isn't, the most agile of characters, but can take a lot of damage, if that makes sense. They're not going to deal much, but they'll take a lot. So if you feel like, you're going to be maybe sitting back a bit more, then I'd say Carla isn't a bad option. And her unique perks are as follows. There is Mosh Pit. When fighting a group of enemies, you'll get a small damage boost to your melee attacks. Then there is Big Deep. When you're very low on health, you get a big boost to toughness, making it harder for you to die at critical moments. So now let's move on to Danny. Danny is simply all about staying alive and fighting for as long as possible. She's got a decent amount of health, a bucket load of stamina, and skills that encourage playing very aggressively, and the stats are as follows. There is a toughness of 3, a stamina of 5, a health recovery of 1, a critical damage of 3, an agility of 3, a peak health of 4, and a resilience of 2. So they are very, very strong in the overall stamina and health departments, but they don't really have much in terms of damage and overall toughness. So yeah, if you really just want to be able to stay alive at all times, then Danny is a solid option. And the unique perks for Danny are as follows. Thunderstruck, charging up for a heavy attack, causes a force explosion, briefly stopping surrounding zombies in their tracks. Then there is Bloodlust. You gain a little bit of health back when killing multiple zombies in short succession, which is good because Danny's health recovery is very, very slow. So, you know, that does somewhat even things out a little bit. So then finally there is Ryan. So Ryan is a tank of a character with lots of health, defensive abilities and perks that lets him restore health and deal more damage after dodging and blocking depending on the skill that you chose. So the stats are as follows for Ryan. A toughness of 5, a stamina of 3, a health recovery also of 3, a critical damage of 2, a really poor agility of 1, a peak health of 3, and a resilience of 4. So yeah, really basically a tank is going to be able to take a lot of damage but can't really deal loads and isn't agile at all. Similar to what we saw over back with Carla as well, pretty similar there. And the unique perks for Ryan are as follows. So first of all, there is Retaliation. This skill increases your force after a well-timed dodge or block, which makes you more likely to knock down zombies when attacking. Then there is Seesaw. In perfect tandem with Retaliation, this skill recovers a little bit of health every time you knock down a zombie. So there we go. Those are the 6 characters that you can pick between when you start the game. This is right after the introductory cutscene. You then get to pick which character you want to use throughout your playthrough of Dead Island 2, and there are definitely better options and there are definitely worse options. So let's actually go over the best character for different scenarios. So first of all, there is the best character for starting as a beginner, and Jacob is by far the best character to choose if you are just starting out, as he does have just about everything, at least a little bit. So he's definitely the best option, since yeah, he's literally just a great all-round character. So in terms of the best character for dealing damage, it is Bruno. It's a high risk character but a high reward character, and can be very satisfying to play as when you do understand the overall combat mechanics of the game. So yeah, in terms of dealing damage, Bruno is the one to go for. But it's definitely worth noting that it's going to be trickier, so I wouldn't say do that on your first playthrough. Maybe on your second, if you want to, you know, really focus on combat, then Bruno's going to be a solid option once you do understand the game. So then finally, if you're looking for the best character for staying alive, let's say you don't really enjoy the combat, you maybe think you're not very good at the combat, then Carla is going to be your best bet in terms of staying alive, due to the fantastic defensive stats, and her damage output is boosted while fighting large groups of enemies as well, which is always going to help. So yeah, in terms of staying alive, Carla will be your best option. So there you go, it really is a choice between Jacob, Bruno and Carla in my opinion in terms of the characters that you should be using within your Dead Island 2 playthroughs, and I would say that overall it's probably best to go with Jacob just for the all-round stats. So now let's talk about a couple tips that you should definitely be aware of before you actually get into Dead Island 2 to be able to allow yourself for the best start possible. So first of all is to look out for medkits right at the beginning of the game, and also look out for energy drinks. These will help you regenerate health, since you're probably right at the beginning of the game, especially on your first playthrough, going to be taking a lot of damage when you don't have great weapons and you're not, you know, familiar with the combat mechanics. So definitely stock up on medkits wherever possible. So that also leads on to the next tip, which is to loot absolutely everything you can. Everything you see, pick it up. It's just going to help you, and it's going to make things a lot easier in the long run for crafting certain weapons and upgrading certain things as well. Definitely make sure that you pick up everything you can. You know, just looking in small rooms and everything like that will really help you in the long run, and also at the beginning of the game as well. Next up is to use water, fuel and electricity to your advantage. Now you're going to encounter loads of different puddles and everything like that, and patches of fire as you explore the areas, as well as items like jerry cans and oxygen tanks. It's worth noting that some of this can actually be used to be able to take out zombies. Now it's going to be pretty obvious when this is going to be an opportunity, but definitely, you know, use this, utilize this. It's going to be able to allow you to maybe save some ammo and also save your weapons durability, since there is a weapon degradation system in Dead Island 2 and you will be repairing weapons fairly often. So yeah, it's definitely worth utilizing these opportunities when you do get the chance. Next up is to look out for blueprints. So blueprints can be bought from traders in Jaunt's Mansion, Venice Beach and beyond, and can also be found near workbenches as well. Blueprints enable you to upgrade your weapons with mods and perks and craft things like medkits and bullets. Definitely worth collecting blueprints whenever you find them. Just do it, it's just going to make things easier in the long run as well. So then finally, be sure to repair and upgrade your weapons with perks and mods weapons to add certain effects to them. That's something you want to do throughout the game. You want to consistently upgrade your weapons. Let's say near the beginning of the game you find a weapon that you really like. You could stick with that weapon for the majority of the game, just providing that you frequently repair it and also frequently upgrade it to be able to use it when taking out the higher level zombies as you also get to a higher level, since zombies will progress in level as you progress in level, if that makes sense. So yeah, definitely be sure to upgrade and also maintain your weapons throughout the game. And there you go, that does just about wrap up things here. By following all of that, you are going to set yourself up for the perfect start within Dead Island 2. You're able to pick out the best character for your type of playthrough, and also you now know the sort of things that you need to look out for when you are beginning your playthrough within Dead Island 2. And yeah, that does just about wrap up things here. Now, I have actually done a complete beginner's guide to Dead Island 2. A link to that video is on the screen now if you are interested in watching that.